Let's move on to Pennsylvania, because if we don't win Pennsylvania, it's over. Now, explain to me again, I'm just kind of curious, Joe, this is a weird one, how Florida, a state that has a dramatically larger population than Pennsylvania, managed to wrap up its vote count on election, and we're done down here. We got a victory in Florida for President Trump. Pennsylvania, with a much smaller population, is counting votes till when? Christmas? When are we going to get a vote count, Pennsylvania? You can't figure this out. Of course, it's a state run by a Democrat governor. It's not your fault, Pennsylvanians. It's your governor who's a left-wing lunatic. They can't figure out, of course, how to count votes in Pennsylvania, which is quite embarrassing. But what's going on in Pennsylvania right now? If we don't have Pennsylvania, we have nothing. Again, I can't say that enough. It doesn't matter if we win Nevada and Arizona. If we lose Pennsylvania, game over. We're up in Pennsylvania. And magically, Joe, the count goes on in Pennsylvania. They can't seem to figure this out. This whole voting, count them things is really weird.
Yeah. At the time this is recorded, yeah.
At the time. Put up this Washington Examiner article, because I want to explain to you the chaos in Pennsylvania and what's going to wind up happening. And how this ties into what's happening in North Carolina. Dan, we're getting crazy. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, there's a lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot of pieces to screw together here. Washington Examiner, Jerry Dunleavy. Trump campaign seeks Supreme Court intervention in Pennsylvania mail-in ballot case. What's going on in Pennsylvania? Please read the show notes today. Bongino.com/newsletter. The newsletter is the show notes. Please. I have it all laid out for you today. You read today's show notes, you'll have a full grasp of what's going on. This story's in there. What's happening in Pennsylvania is the law, the written law in Pennsylvania, election law, passed and certified, is that if a ballot is not received by election day at 8 p.m. Eastern time by election officials, that ballot is not valid. Does everybody understand? That is 8 p.m. election day or election night.
Copy. Yeah.
The Supreme Court in Pennsylvania jumped in and said, no, which is dominated by leftists. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court said, no. We're going to change that to, as long as it's postmarked by election day, the ballot, you can receive the ballot up to 3 days later and it still counts. There's a problem with that, Joe. The problem is that's not what the law said. And if you want to rewrite the Pennsylvania election law, you do you, but you have to actually, Joe, this is crazy. You have to actually rewrite Pennsylvania election law. I know that's insane to liberals. You're like, what do you mean? We can't just make it up on the fly? No, you can't. But Dan, the courts, yes, I will respond to you. But liberals, the Constitution. The Constitution is crystal clear that election law will be written by, wait for it, Joe, state legislatures. Oh my gosh, not courts? Yes, that's right. The Trump campaign, if they lose Pennsylvania due to not legally counted ballots, in other words, ballots that are illegally cast after 8 p.m. on election day, again, the whole law thing I know gets in the way. By the way, those are if Republicans didn't get their vote in by 8 p.m. in Pennsylvania, your vote shouldn't count either. Let me be crystal clear. If we lose fair and square to do legal votes, fine. I'm not like a Democrat. Let's only count Biden votes. Screw the whole, vote for the other guy thing. They're taking the case to the Supreme Court, the Trump campaign. And what they're going to do is Pennsylvania has now moved ballots received after 8 p.m. on election day into a separate pile. If the Trump campaign loses Pennsylvania and the numbers are there to show that they lost due to ballots cast, follow me here, after 8 p.m., which is against Pennsylvania law, they will win that case in the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay. Make no mistake. Well,
okay,
I shouldn't say that because of John Roberts. Make maybe a little bit. Roberts, even though we got Amy Coney Barrett now, let me rephrase that. I'm confident we will win that case in the Supreme Court. Having said that, I've spoken to some people on the Trump team. If we lose Pennsylvania by an amount that exceeds the amount of ballots received after 8 p.m. on election day, they doubt the Supreme Court will take the case because it wouldn't technically overturn the Pennsylvania outcome. Everybody tracking?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I'm reasonably
That's easy.
confident, even if we lose, air quotes, lose Pennsylvania due to illegally cast votes, that we still have an avenue in the Supreme Court. Because again, if we don't win Pennsylvania at this point, this race is over. Time for lullabies. One more point, and we'll get to our second sponsor here. What does this all have to do with North Carolina? It all. Arizona, we're still counting. Nevada, we're still counting. Pennsylvania, we're counting, but we still have the court option. And by the way, the Supreme Court has already said, keep those after 8 p.m. ballots on the side because we may rule on this later, even though John Roberts abandoned us earlier on this. North Carolina came out yesterday and said, hey, by the way, we're not going to finish our counting because North Carolina has not been certified yet and no winner's been called by the decision desk or others. We're not going to we're not going to restart our counting and give you a number until November 12th. Why do you think they do? Anyone here in the Paula, Joe, anyone have a theory? You have a theory? No, good guess. But Joe, you have a theory on why North Carolina?
I don't.
Okay,
Need you to
let me
explain.
tell you. That's what I'm here for. Don't worry, folks. Sometimes I throw pop quizzes. It's okay. North Carolina is run by a Democrat right now. It's a largely Republican state, but it's run by a lunatic Democrat governor. And sadly, Democrats have a lot of power in North Carolina. A lot of power to do things that are unethical. I have a theory on this, and I think from what I'm hearing from my sources on the ground, I'm pretty right. The Democrats are now panicking that Arizona may flip to the Trump column. They're also panicking that they may not have enough votes in Pennsylvania to overcome Trump's lead. If Trump wins Pennsylvania and Arizona, Trump wins a second term. Oh, but that second term and that win cannot be certified without North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, bank on it. President Trump won North Carolina. Everybody knows it. Strangely enough, though, nobody's calling North Carolina because there's still just a few outstanding votes they could count tomorrow. You see the game they're playing here? You don't see it. It doesn't make sense. Paul is saying no. Okay. They're playing two games, the Democrats, because they're smart. Devious, but smart. They know President Trump could have won this election. They know they have to create political pressure either way, if President Trump won or lost, to get Biden in office. How do you do that? You have news outlets declare states in the race are over no matter what. They'll stop the counting and move on. Or they'll count. This is what they'll do. They will declare the race politically over. There'll be political pressure. Democrats will take it to the courts. They think they can win this thing no matter what. If Trump wins because they certify North Carolina early and Trump wins Arizona and Pennsylvania, the political pressure's gone. You have a Bush v. Gore scenario. So they're probably hinting, winking and nodding to North Carolina. Hey, you need to buy us time because if Trump wins Pennsylvania, Arizona, and North Carolina, it's over. We don't have the political pressure. You get it? Buy us time.
There we go.
Don't count until November 12th. Buy us some time here. If you can buy us some time to create reverse political pressure back to Biden, do a lawsuit or something else, you're buying us time. That is why North Carolina is holding out. My theory. Does it make sense now? The Democrats need to buy time in case Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania flip. And it can't be certified without certifying North Carolina for Trump, which everybody knows they won. So we had all these media people pre-certifying the outcome in Arizona for Biden and holding off certifying the known outcome for Trump in North Carolina. So they have a relief pitcher in the bullpen. Just in case.
You just heard Dan Bongino.